This week on INLC, the Ballroom became a giant chessboard on Wednesday with the first annual playing of the human chess game. We have the full wrap-up.
Plus, music rang out loudly in the halls of Shewell Hall this past Friday with 2 concerts on Friday afternoon. We have highlights coming up.
And all the highlights from an active sports week with Justin Priputin.
And Will Stafford has the outlook for the week ahead.
INLC starts now. Hi everyone, I'm Mandy Ramirez.
And I'm RJ Burnett.
Wednesday, compliments of some rather inclement weather. The first annual human chess game to benefit Uganda was held in the Ballroom rather than the Dell.
But that didn't stop the good time. I had the opportunity to attend the game and filed this report.
When most people think of chess, they immediately think of this. But on March 30th, the game of chess became something else entirely for 32 Lynchburg College students. The game was part of an event organized by LC's women's soccer coach, Dr. Todd Olson.
We're putting on something called Strategies for Life this week, and our idea is to raise awareness about some of the daily struggles that someone has in a developing country or a country that's been devastated by a natural disaster.
Particular attention was paid to the plight of people in Haiti and Uganda, and there were multiple booths and tents set up to educate and inform visitors about the quality of life in those nations. But what does chess have to do with all this?
There's a young girl from Uganda, and she's become a national chess champion. She's from the slums, and in the slums they think people are not very bright and uneducated and sort of stupid, and she's proved them all wrong. And she's been able to, as a 14-year-old, just win the national championship in all of Uganda. She's gone to Siberia and just done amazing things. Her name is Fiona, and so we're going to honor her by playing human chess today.
For INLC, this is RJ Burnett reporting.
Dr. G.M. Booth, class of 1978, master's in 1988, and associate professor of council education, has been named Council Educator of the Year by the Virginia School Counselor Association. The mission of the Virginia School Counselor Association is to promote excellence in the profession of school counseling and to provide member support through professional development, advocacy, leadership, accountability, and collaboration.
The Lynchburg College Choral Union and Concert Choir will present their spring concert on April 9th at 7:30 p.m. in Snidow Chapel. The concert is free and no tickets are required. Dr. Zhang Kim, Professor of Music and Director of Graduate Studies in Music, will conduct. INLC will also have a full wrap-up of this performance on next week's show. Speaking of music, Mandy, I was also able to attend the music recital at 1 p.m. this past Friday in Sydney.
Sounds like you were quite busy this week.
I was, but it was worth it. The performance at 1 was spectacular, and photojournalist Travis Clark was able to check out the one at 4 o'clock. Here are some sights and sounds of both.
sprinkler head was busted on the 4th floor of Peakview Apartments Friday afternoon. While there was a significant amount of water due to the fast response, we were fortunate that the damage was isolated to the common areas and hallways and avoided individual personal apartment units. Due to the diligence of the staff, the building and the sprinkler systems became operational shortly after the incident.
The home where tennis greats like Arthur Ashe got their start will be restored for future generations. Dr. Robert W. Johnson III lived and coached tennis stars from his home on the 1400 block of Pierce Street in Lynchburg. E.C. Glass's tennis coach is spearheading an effort to raise money and turn the home into a museum. There are also plans to restore the old tennis court so that it can be used to train future players in Lynchburg.
Well, RJ, I was busy myself this week.
That's right, you went to a lecture by a very interesting person.
That's right, RJ. Thursday I attended the documentary and subsequent lecture given by David Johnson. Here's my report. On Thursday, March 31st, David Johnson came to Lynchburg College to talk about poverty and how it's not based on money, but instead power.
She has no education, she has no skills. What is a woman in a developing nation who has no education, no skills, but also has three, in the photograph you see one of them, three just adorable children? What does a woman in a developing nation have to turn to feed her children? Prostitution. She's a prostitute. Because she feels like the only thing that she has to offer this world is her body. That's it. She has nothing else to turn to. And someone could walk past her and say, hey, I'm going to give you $10. Would that solve her problem? Would $10 solve it? It wouldn't, would it? Maybe for a night, maybe for two. What about a loaf of bread? Would that have solved her problem? It wouldn't have. And so, her talking about feeling powerless and hopeless, that's how Aden felt.
For INLC, this is Mandy Ramirez reporting. Now for a look at international news. Here's Becca Loftus.
In Japan, the bodies of 2 workers at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant were found. The employees went missing in the March 11th earthquake and tsunami. Their bodies were found in the basement of the turbine building at the No. 4 reactor. The workers were both members of the utility company's operations management department and were working when the earthquake and tsunami hit. Cause of death appears to be severe blood loss due to several traumatic injuries. Their bodies were found last Wednesday, March 30th, but this information was not released until Sunday morning. Tokyo Electric explained they delayed the information because they wanted to have ample time to notify the victims' families. In Libya, pro-government forces shelled a medical clinic in Misrata, killing 1 person and wounding 15. Others, according to a hospital source. The majority of those injured were wounded by a second round of mortar blasts, helping those who had already been hit. The clinic has already come under attack, forcing many patients to evacuate. In the rest of the city of Misrata, Libyan ruler Muammar Gaddafi's troops were closing in. Misrata is under rebel control and is the main site for aid for rebel injuries. Any bombings in the port could prevent aid ships from reaching Misrata. The rebels have been hindered by a lack of organization and training in heavy weaponry when confronting the better-trained, better-armed forces of Gaddafi, who is under investigation for alleged crimes against humanity by the International Criminal Court.
Now for quick briefs this week. A 49-year-old man is listed in critical condition after Lynchburg police say he struck a van head-on early Saturday morning. Both drivers had to be extracted from their vehicles. The crash happened around 5:30 a.m. near the 7100 block of Timberlake Road. According to police, Zarita was not wearing his seatbelt at the time of the crash and is at Lynchburg General Hospital waiting to be transported to the University of Virginia Medical Center. The driver of the van, 53-year-old Kathy Nolan, was wearing her seatbelt and is listed in stable condition at an area hospital.
Bedford County investigator Joshua Hubbard was fired Friday for allegedly driving the wrong way down Route 29 drunk. Now, the Bedford community says they're disappointed in the man who vowed to protect them. The Bedford County Sheriff's Office has stayed tight-lipped on the Hubbard case. All week, the Sheriff's Office had said it was a personal matter that is under investigation. But Friday, the sheriff sent a clear message. Allegations of driving drunk will not be tolerated.
Finally, what would happen to your town if all the women went? That's the premise of a reality TV show in the works, and the town of Charlotte Courthouse could be the scene of the huge social experiment. The town clerk says producers with BBC visited the town last month. Producers will be back in town sometime in April for the final round of interviews, and Skelton says Charlotte Courthouse is less than a dozen towns that is still in the running. A location will be chosen before taping begins in July. All the women willing to leave town for 1 week get vacations while producers follow men and their children as they cope. Now for an update in sports. Here's Justin Priputin.
What's up, LC? Justin Priputin here with your weekly update in the world of sports. The baseball team took on Averett University Friday, April 1st, and won 13-2. The Hornets struck first with a 3-run triple in the 3rd inning, and then added 4 in the 6th with 2 more in each the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. The team then took on Roanoke College the next day in ODAC doubleheader action and won both games 5-1 and 4-2. Matt Morgan pitched a complete game in Game 1, only giving up 5 hits, 1 run, and striking out 5. James Womack pitched 8 in the 3rd innings in Game 2, giving up 6 hits while striking out 8. Jared Wilner sealed the game by earning his 5th save of the season. The men's lacrosse had a late win against ODAC rival Hampden-Sydney College Saturday night, 8-7, thanks to a last-second goal by Eddie Billinkus. Andrew Wilfong had 3 goals in the game, with Matt Manzo, Chris Ellingling, and Phil Petronelli each adding 1 goal. The team hosts Randolph College Wednesday night for another ODAC conference game. The women's lacrosse team didn't need any late game heroics as they beat Hollins College 19-1 Saturday afternoon. The Hornets came out shooting as they scored 3 goals within the first 5 minutes of the half and then added 12 more to go into halftime, leading 15-0. Leslie Buckingham led the way for the Hornets as she netted 4 goals and having 4 assists. The team traveled to Guilford on Saturday for an ODAC game. The softball team lost both games on their senior day doubleheader Saturday, April 2nd against ODAC rival Roanoke. The Hornets were up in Game 1 thanks to a home run from Megan Friedenberg and a 2 RBI single from Melanie Tenney. But Roanoke hit a grand slam in the 6th to take the lead for good. Roanoke started quickly in Game 2, scoring 4 runs in both the 1st and 2nd innings. LC tried to battle back by scoring 2 in the 2nd with 3 in the 3rd, but it wasn't enough to catch Roanoke. The Hornets host Ferrum College Wednesday, April 6th for a non-conference doubleheader. Other news and notes: the MLB season is officially underway with the Red Sox and Phillies being picked to go to the World Series this year. And with only single-digit games left on schedule, the NBA playoffs will be starting up in a couple weeks. That's it for me. I'm Justin Priputin. Back to you guys.
Now for the weather, here's Chief Forecaster Will Stafford.
Now from the LC Storm Center, here is Chief Forecaster Will Stafford.
As you can tell on the maps, this is a very typical spring. You see down here near the Rio Grande, mid-90s for highs yesterday. 70s reached all the way up to Greensboro. Arctic high air still up to our north and around the Great Lakes. And that warm surge of air extends northward in through parts of the Midwest. Where the 2 air masses collide is where we're looking at the threat of severe weather. I show you this on the map because we could be seeing this type of weather, although probably not this intense on Monday night into Tuesday. Hail and gusty winds look to be the main threat. Here's a look at the surface map. The front coming off the Rockies into the Midwest, sparking storms. This again will move east on Monday night into Tuesday, sparking off some storms for us. Then once that clears on Tuesday afternoon, we turn cooler again, but remain very dry. A very early look at the Relay for Life forecast, and we'll update this online on the Facebook page as the date gets closer. Right now, mid-40s for lows on Friday night, variably cloudy skies. Rest of the week, 80 on Monday, and breezy out ahead of that front. Storms Monday night, cooling off Tuesday, and then dry again in time for next weekend. There is a slight chance of a shower, but being optimistic, we didn't put it in. Manny and RJ.
Thanks, Will.
And that's our show for this week.
Next week, INLC has an exclusive interview inside the studio of 93.7 KHF, Lynchburg's new Top 40 radio station.
And we'll have exclusive coverage of Relay for Life kicking off next Friday night.
Until then, I'm Mandy.
And I'm RJ Burnett. Level Up is next.
See you next week, LC.